Yes, welcome to the second session of the company law. Yesterday, we discussed about, in the previous class, we discussed about what are the different, what do you mean by company? Is it a legal form or is it a physical form? So why someone has to register as a company? So some fundamental topics without reading any company law related thing we discussed. First of all, what is meant by a company? What is meant by company law? All that we discussed. Today, one more fundamental clarification I want to give you and then proceed with the actual topic. By the way, today our topic is understanding different types of companies. We are today understanding what are different types of companies. Now, if you observe, we have income tax law. Yes or no? We have income tax law. We have GST law, GST tax. Earlier we have VAT, all that. Now we have customs duty. We have some local taxes. So, okay, these are all various laws that we already know. Now we are also having, now the law that we are discussing is Companies Act 2013, SEBI Act. Of course, SEBI we are not discussing, but I'm just listing out SEBI, LLP Act, Partnership Firm, Partnership Act, Cooperative Societies Act, Societies Act, Indian Trust Act. There are various other laws. You know, what is the difference between these set of laws and these set of laws is, these are revenue laws. These are revenue laws. Whereas Companies Act, SEBI, LLP, all these laws are administrative laws. They are administrative laws. Now, if someone asks you, what is the purpose of Companies Act? Is it to collect some revenue from companies? Is Companies Act objective is to collect revenue? Is it to gain? Is it to mint money? No. Companies Act is there to administer the companies. These are administrative laws. Why we need to administer? Why we need to administer? Why Companies Act has been written so comprehensively? Why Companies Act is involving in each and every affair of the company? Because the owners are different and the person who are managing the company are different. Board of directors are different and owners are different. Owners may be from anybody from the public, but management is only few people. So there must be accountability for them. In order to bring accountability, in order to bring transparency, in order to bring corrupt free, an administrative law is required for them. That's why Companies Act has been introduced. Companies Act is an administrative law, not a revenue law. Further, whatever we are going to discuss in the company law, it is nothing but how to incorporate, how to register a company. In what manner we can register a company, private company, public company, small company, 1% company, how this company can issue shares. Okay, and how the company how the company will conduct meetings, how the company can take decisions related to various affairs. Only these aspects we are going to discuss. These are all completely called as procedural aspects. These are called as procedural aspects. So we are not discussing any concept here. First understand, if you are learning costing or accounting, you are learning a concept there. You are learning some principles. Here we are not learning any principles. We are only learning what is the procedure to be followed for incorporating company. What is the procedure to be followed for issuing shares? What is the procedure to be followed for issuing debentures? What is the procedure to be followed for getting deposits from public? What is the procedure to be followed to take decisions related to company? What procedure? Meetings you need to conduct. So entire company law is something procedural aspect of These are all completely procedural aspects. We are learning only procedural aspects. We are not having anything here to call it as a concept. There is no concept here, first of all. Now, when you are learning these procedural aspects, if you see the Companies Act, it is using different terms. It is using different terms. Now, what do you mean by each and every term? How this definition shall be interpreted? Here alone we are applying conceptual knowledge. Here alone we are looking for conceptual knowledge. So not entire Companies Act, you are looking at conceptual knowledge, you are looking at procedures. When you are learning how to do that procedure, what to do that procedure, when you're learning that, you are side by side learning concept also. Slightly some concept is also involved. So this is a company law. Now coming to the next important discussion, different types of companies. In the preliminary chapter, the next topic is different types of companies. First of all, understand different types of companies is dependent upon who are the owners. Who are the owners? In India, the business can be conducted largely by two different entities. The business is largely conducted by two different participants. We in fact call them as participants. Government is one participant where they may do business. Other than government is another participant where they do business. Government participant, if they are doing a business, and if that enterprise, if that undertaking, if that entity, if that concern, if that establishment, if that organization is owned by government, we call it as, in general terms, PSU, public sector undertaking. We call it as public sector undertaking when, if that undertaking is majorly owned by government. Majorly owned by government. Sir, again, government means a very big term. No? What is meant by government, sir? Government means central government, state government, union territory. Central government and its department, state government and its department, union territory and its department. These are all governments. What do you mean by a department, sir? Indian Railways is one department, Postal is another department, Income Tax Department is another department, GST is another department, Human Resource Department. So many were there in central government. Same way state government, same way union territories. Of course, union territory is part of central government. Now remember, government, they can do business in two different manners, through two different routes. One is the government directly conduct the business. That is example, Indian Railways. Of course, though they don't call it as business, but of course it's nothing but a sort of revenue for the government. Post offices. Have you ever seen Indian Railways? Indian Railways, is it a company? All of you reply me in the chat box. Is Indian Railways a company? Is Indian Railways a company? Do you find anywhere Indian Railways Private Limited, Indian Railways Limited? Have you? Reply in the chat box. No. Vinay, Ishwarika, Sandeep, Presuna, Rajesh. Yes, no. Indian Railways is not a company. Then what is Indian Railways? What is the legal form of Indian Railways? It is a department of central government. It is a department of central government which is administered by a ministry. Now there is a railway minister. We have Piyush Goyal, I think. Yeah, Piyush Goyal. Okay. No, it's not even a corporation. It's not even a corporation. Indian Railways is not even a corporation. There is no corporation. It's a department of government. Another way how government, another route through which how government can do business is by establishing a government company. By government company. Another route is corporation. Another route is by incorporating a corporation. Example, life insurance corporation, food corporation of India, General Insurance Corporation. There are so many corporations the government is owning. Government company is another way, which means government company is something, government only is the owner, but they are registering that particular business under Companies Act. When do I can call a business as a company? When that business is registered under Companies Act, I call it as a company. When government is registering a business conducted by them under Companies Act, then that company is called as a government company. Actually, the technical definition of government company is different. I'll come to that later. First, you need to understand the conceptual part of the company. So that is government company. Government company is something that registers under Companies Act. Now see, NHA is also a corporation. Yes, NHA is also a corporation. Getting it? Now you see, all these are government enterprises. First understand, all these are government enterprises, public sector undertakings. We call comprehensively all of them as public sector undertaking. Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited. These are all government companies. Government is doing some business activity, and that business activity is registered under Companies Act, and they are government companies. Now, whether it is government department, whether it is government owned corporation, whether it is government owned company, completely owned by government, therefore I call it as government enterprises. Therefore I call it as public sector undertakings. Now, contrarily, another person who can do business is private sector. Private sector. Private sector is something where government is not the major owner. Other than governments are the major owner. Example, Reliance Industries Limited. In that, more than 50% of the ownership is held by Mukesh Ambani, his family members, some trust, some shareholders and all. If you say government is also having shares in Reliance Industries Limited, government is also having shares, but their shares are less than 50%, not more than 50%. They are not the major owner. So it is a private sector entity. It is a private sector entity, private sector enterprise, private sector undertaking, private sector. Government owned is called as public sector. Now the word private sector, public sector, another two words I will introduce now. Private limited company, public limited company. Public limited, private limited, private sector, public sector. Sir, public limited, public sector, are they same or are they different? Private limited and private sector, are they same or are they different? They are different. Private sector, public sector words are used in economy angle, not in the legal framework, not in the legal context. Private limited company, public limited company. Now I am introducing two more words, two types of companies. Private limited company, another one is public limited company, another one is public limited company. You would have understood these points either in CA foundation, or you would have understood if you are an MEC student in intermediate, you would have got these points, or you would have understood it somewhere. Private limited company, public limited company, you would have understood some fundamental point. Private limited companies will have minimum 2 members, public limited companies will have minimum 7 members. All that you would have understood, some basic stuff. Let us now decode the terminology used here. Let us decode. See, the law is given always in the procedural way. The law has been given only in the procedural aspect. The law is given in a procedural way. Just a minute, 1 minute. Yes. So private limited company and public limited company, private limited company and public limited company, these are legal terminologies. These are defined under Companies Act. I used previously two more words, private sector, public sector. They are not legal terminology, they are general terminology. In Telugu, Prabhutva Rangam and private Rangam, they call it as. Private sector is called it as private Rangam, public sector is called as Prabhutva Rangam. Okay, so they are different. Now let us decode these two terms. See, actually what is meant by private company? There is a big definition. Private company is a company which by its articles restricts number of members to 200. All that is a procedural aspect of the definition. Look at it from concept point of view. That is very important. What is a private limited company? First of all, the word limited signifies the word limited signifies the members liability. The members, nothing but owner's liability. In fact, more clearly, owner's liability is limited. The owner's liability is limited. That is what the word limited signifies. Now, private limited company means what? The owners of this limited liability company, the owners of this limited liability company is nothing but private people. They are private people. They are private. The company business activity is completely managed by private individuals. Sir, there is a private limited company, sir. Is there, sir? You and me, we are general public, no? We are just like a common man, common public members. Can I become owner in that private limited company? You can't. Why? It's a private. You're only saying it's a private limited. How can you become owner in that company? Private means what? Their affairs are confidential. Their affairs are secret. They are doing privately on their own their activities. You and me cannot become members in that company because it is not a public company where you and me, general public, can enter into ownership. You and me comes under general public, so we cannot enter into a private company ownership because it is not a public company. So now what is a public limited company? Public limited company also having limited liability. The members are having limited liability. The owners are having limited liability. But into that public limited company, anybody can become owner. Anybody can become owner in that public limited company. Anyone can become owner. That is the difference between private limited and public limited. Public means what? Public limited, hey, this company is open for public. We are not private. We are not confidential. Our affairs are very open. Our business is open to everyone. You and anybody in India, anybody outside India can enter into ownership of this company. This company is opened for public limited company. That's how the word has been derived. Give always every terminology a concept meaning, logical meaning to it. A private company means so and so conditions, public company means so and so conditions. That's a mechanical way of learning. Understand why the terminology has been used in that way. So that's the difference between private limited and public limited. Suppose Reliance Industries Limited, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and see, by the way, I'll tell you a few more issues before this example. I'll give you a few more issues. Private limited companies, no, in their name, the name will be there. No, every company will have a name, right? At the end of the name, they must use the word private limited. And public limited companies are there, no, at the end of the name they just have to mention limited. You need not mention public. Suppose if the word private is not there, no, if it is not there, we assume it is public limited. Absence of the term private indicates a public company. Now, sir, what are the examples of private limited company, public limited companies? What are the examples of that? Private limited company, Tata Sons Private Limited. Tata Sons Private Limited. Tata Sons Private Limited. You know, earlier DMart is there, no? DMart, everyone we know. DMart. Earlier it is owned by, even now also, Avenue Supermarts. Supermarts Private Limited. Flipkart, every one of you know, right? Flipkart. In India, Flipkart is operating through a private company. Flipkart is operating through a private company called WS Retail Private Limited. WS Retail Private Limited. Amazon is operating through in India through mainly Cloudtail India Private Limited. Cloudtail India Private Limited. You see, the word ends with private limited. In these companies, you and me, even if I want to invest 100 crores, only if the owners of that company willing to sell their shares, only then they can sell. You can't buy their shares without their consent. The ownership of these companies, are not available for public. They are not available for public. So that is a private limited company. That is called as a private limited company. What is a public limited company? Examples of public limited. Now see, public limited companies are again two types. Public limited companies are again two types. I'm talking about public limited. Public limited means what? You and me, any one of us can become owner in that company. That is called public limited company. There are two types. They may be listed in a stock exchange. They may be listed in a stock exchange, or they may be unlisted companies. A public limited company can be an unlimited company or a listed, an unlisted company or a listed company. A public limited company may be unlisted or listed. Sir, what is an example of unlisted public companies? What are the examples of unlisted public companies? Suppose you take IRCTC Limited. Earlier, IRCTC Limited is an unlisted public company. It's an unlisted public company. Now it became listed. Now it recently listed onto the stock exchange. Now it became a listed company. Rosari Biotech Limited is a public company earlier. It's a pharmaceutical company. It's unlisted. But in the last year only it went listing. So it's a listed company now. Many government companies are there. They are unlisted. Are you getting the point? Until now, all of you, please reply me. Until now, have you understood? Now, again, these listed companies and unlisted companies, no, they may be government owned companies or non-government owned companies. Same way, private limited companies also, it may be government owned or it may be non-government. Government owned means public sector, non-government owned means private sector. Suppose in a private limited company, major ownership is held by not central government or state. Somebody was held in private limited. Major owners are some individuals. And in that company, no public cannot enter into ownership. In that company, nobody can enter into ownership. Only those people can enter into ownership, and they are the owners. They don't sell any shares to outsiders. Nobody can enter into ownership. That's why we are calling it as public company. And who are the owners other than government? So it's a non-government company. Suppose in the private limited company, major owners are government, then it is a government company. Generally, people think government company means it's a public limited company. That's wrong. Public limited, private limited is decided based upon the ownership structure. If the ownership is by government for more than 51%, if more than 51% of the ownership is by government, then we call it as government company. If less than 51% ownership is by government, means major ownership is by somebody other than government, then it's a private limited, sorry, it's a non-government company, government, non-government. Now, what is public and private? If private people only can own, can hold the shares in the company as per the rules and regulations of the company, that company do not allow ownership to public. Maximum 200 owners only possible. Beyond that, we don't permit. And these people cannot sell the shares to general public. If at all I want to sell, suppose I'm a owner in one private company, I don't want to continue in the ownership. I want to sell the ownership. I will have to sell the ownership to another member of the same company. I cannot offer to public. If this condition is there, it's a private limited company. Now I'm the owner, right? I may be a government, I may be another than government. I may be a government or I may not be a government. If Andhra Pradesh government, AP government invested more than 50% of shares in my startup, I'm starting up a business, new startup, Andhra Pradesh government supported me, Telangana government supported me, they invested in my startup, and one condition they put is, we only me, I am the owner, and Telangana state government is the owner. Only we both are the owners. Nobody else is the owner. And government, the government, the main party has told me, nobody you should enter into ownership. You should not entertain anybody into ownership. They told me with a very clear condition, which means they're asking me to incorporate a private limited company. Now, since major ownership is held by government of India or government of a state, it is also a government company. So don't think a government company means always a public limited company. So, but generally governments will invest in public limited companies. They also invested in private limited. Very few you will find, rarely. That's it. So that's the difference between government company, non-government company, and government, non-government, public limited, private limited. That's the difference. I hope conceptually every one of you understood the difference between government, non-government, private limited, public limited. Don't confuse private sector, public sector, again different. Don't confuse again. Next, think logically. Private sector means it is not owned by government. Public sector means owned by government. So which means, now tell me all of you, government company can be both private limited, it can be public limited. Means government can enter into ownership with a company where general public can also come into ownership, or a government company may enter into a ownership with a company where only private people are the owners, public cannot come into ownership. Yes. Now public limited may be government and non-government, both are possible. And whether it is government owned or non-government owned, there are again two types: listed companies, unlisted companies. Bharat Petroleum Corporation is a government company, listed company, public limited company. Which companies can list in stock exchange? Listing in stock exchange means what? You are listing in stock exchange because you wanted to sell shares to multiple people, multiple public. You want public to participate in the ownership. So it's a public limited company. Are you getting the point? So now let us look at how the definitions in the law has been drafted. How the definitions have been drafted in the law. Write about different classes of companies. First definition that we are going to read is private limited company. First we will discuss private company means what, public company means what, government company means what. Private, public limited, government. These are the three companies which are based on composition of ownership. Based on companies, based on composition of ownership. Composition of ownership. I can divide the companies into three types: private limited company, public limited company, government company. Remember, this government company may again, it can be either a private limited or it can be public limited. Anything can be possible. First understand that. Now, what is a private limited? What is a public limited? What is a government company? That's what we are going to discuss now. So what is a private company? Private company means a company having minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed. A private company is a company which will have a minimum paid up share capital. Now here you are looking at a word called paid up share capital. Now you see the word share capital. Let us break the word. Capital means we know pettubadi. Capital means pettubadi. Share capital means my portion of capital. Share means what? Vata means my portion. In a company, single person is not the owner. There are so many persons who are the owners. Everyone is having share in the capital. So it's called share capital. Now the share capital is having multiple types. Authorized capital, you would have heard already in foundation itself. Authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, called up capital, finally paid up. So what is minimum? Here they are using the word what? Minimum paid up capital, not authorized capital. Many of us, we by default assume old Companies Act limit, minimum paid up capital to form a private limited company. Minimum paid up capital to form a private limited company must be 1 lakh. Which means if I have rupees 1 lakh in my hand, I deposit in the company bank account 1 lakh. I will show this proof to the ROC, Registrar of Companies, to the government related enterprise. I will show the proof and I will get document private limited company registration. Provided 2 members must be required. Now, private limited company means a company having minimum paid up share capital, which whatever the law prescribes. Actually, law is silent on that, but we are following a common minimum limit, that is 1 lakh, and which by its articles are nothing but rules of the company, rules and regulations framed in the company. See, you are having a business, maybe your parents or your relatives are doing business. The business which they are doing, they follow some rules and regulations, right? Their own rules only, they follow some rules and regulations, right? Everyone, whenever he is doing a business, he will have his own principles, his own emotions, his own rules and regulations. Same way, company is also a business enterprise, right? First of all, it will also have its own rules and regulations, right? So that rules and regulations, we call it as articles. In fact, we are going to learn in the upcoming chapters a topic called articles of association. Articles of association means what? Association means what? A company means what? Association. You, me, some 10-20 of us associated, formed a company. All of us have invested money. We wanted to do business. We want to share the result. Now our association, all of us, see, if I am the only one, I can follow my rules. If you are the only one, you can follow your rules. But here, the company is owned by all of us. So all of us should develop common rules and regulations, and that is called articles of our association. Our association, we have some rules and regulations. So articles of association. So a private company is a company having minimum paid up capital, which by its articles, by we all together associated, no, we all of us together, we formed the rules. And the rules says what? Restricts right to transfer its shares. You and me associated, formed a company. We first condition that we put is what? Hey, tomorrow if you want to sell the shares, don't sell to outsiders. I am restricting you, you are restricting me. I will not sell the shares to outsiders, you will not sell the shares to outsiders. Restricts right to transfer its shares. Our shares and all we cannot transfer. There is a restriction. Only because this restriction is there, our company is called as a private company. Otherwise, our company cannot be called as a private company. Suppose I told you, hey, you can sell whenever you want to shares. You want to sell the shares to anybody. Anybody can come into, no need my consent. It's the same way, I can also sell my shares to anybody without your consent. All our members agreed to sell shares without anybody else's consent. In such a case, there is no restriction on transfer of shares. If there is no restriction on transfer of shares, how come you call it as private? When anybody can enter into ownership, when anybody can enter and exit easily, how can you call it as private? It is open for public, so it's a public company. To call a company as a private limited company, there must be restriction on the ownership. There must be restriction on right to transfer. Second condition, see, ours is a private company. If at all we accept large number of owners, 1 lakh people came into ownership, it is not private anymore, no. When the number of owners are 1 lakh, how come you call it as private? So it is majorly owned by general public, themselves is owning it. So there is a limit on 200 members. The number of members shall not exceed. The private company by its articles of association limits the number of members to 200. So in a private company, what is the maximum number of members? 200. Third one, my articles, all our association, we are framing rules and regulations, right? We should also prescribe one more rule. What rule? Prohibits any invitation to public to subscribe for any securities of the company. Our articles, our rules and regulations prohibits public offer. Public offer means what? What do you mean by public offer? I am inviting public. I am giving advertisement to the public. Anybody can enter into our ownership. If I give an advertisement like this, if I make an offer like this, when I'm giving offer to general public to enter into our company, how come our company is a private? It is not a private. It is not confidential. It is not privacy. No privacy. It's a public. To call a company an association registered under Companies Act, an association of person, a group of people registered under Companies Act, if that group of people has to be called as a private company, in their articles of association, 3 conditions are must. They must restrict the right to transfer the shares. They must restrict the total maximum number of members to 200. They must prohibit invitation to offer to public. Only then we call it as private limited company. Are you confident? All of you, please reply me. Are you confident, everyone? Yes. Are you finding a different approach to the law? Because every one of you have previously also heard law. You would have listened law definitely previously also. Have you understood the law in this way? We only think private company means 3 conditions. If you read in a monotonous way like this, you don't get any interest towards the subject. Now you see, you remember the concept, you remember the sentences easily if you understand it with a concept element. Actually, company law is completely procedural. People also explains it in a procedural way only. That's the problem. Why people feel, why many students feel company law difficulties, why they don't score in company law is because they don't get the command on the terminology. Why they don't get the command on the terminology is because they don't understand the terminology. Now there is a proviso, there is another provision which speaks about how to count 200 members. How to count 200 members. So counting of 200 members. Counting of 200 members. What is the way how to count these 200 members? So we told a private company is a company where maximum number of members shall not exceed, means it shall be less than 200 or equal to 200. It shall not exceed 200. So how do you count 200 members? Is there any principle for counting? Yes, the law has given certain rules for how to count the 200 members. So they have given some 4 rules. First rule, where 2 or more than 2 persons hold 1 or more shares in a company jointly, which means it's called as joint ownership. Joint ownership. If shares are held in a joint ownership, then all the joint owners together are called as one single member. Simply, joint owners are called as one member. Now I will give an example. You have to tell me. A and B together are holding 10 shares. A and B together, both of them together are holding 10 shares. C and D together are holding 20 shares. Now you have to tell me how many shareholders we have. Do we have 4 shareholders? Do we have 2 shareholders? I'm not asking even shareholder. How many members we have? How many members we will count for the purpose of company law? Do we count them as 4 member or do we count them as 2 member? How do we count? All of you tell me exactly. Everyone are equally right. 2 members. We only consider them as 2. A and B are holding 10 shares, no? Any number of shares they can hold. But A and B together are holding jointly. The shares are in the joint ownership name. They are considered as one member and C and D is considered as another member. Now, A and B originally purchased 10 shares. Later, C and D also joined along with A and B to have ownership on 10 shares. Means C and D paid some money to A and B. A and B joined them also as part of their ownership. Now, how many shareholders we have here? Do we have 4 members? Do we have 4 members or do we have 2 members? How many we have? 4 or 2? 4 or 2? Ah, exactly. Very good. Everyone said 1. 1 is right answer. 1. Because all of them jointly hold the shares. Fine. Very good. Next. Second principle for counting members is persons who are in employment of the company shall not be counted. Persons who are in employment of the company shall not be counted. Let us read B, C, D points also. C point also. Actually, C point is also. D is just a clarification which I gave. B and C are two important principles. C point you see. B point is what? Persons who are in employment of the company shall not be counted. Okay, good. Okay, let us interpret it later. C point. Persons who having been formerly in the employment of the company, or else let us see, in between commas is there, no, this will ignore. The underlined point I will ignore first. Persons who were members of the company while in that employment have continued to be members after the employment ceased shall not be counted. Past employees shall not be counted. So I'll list it out. Employees of the company. There are 2 categories of the employees. Present employees who are holding shares in the company, past employees who are still holding the shares in the company, still holding shares in the company. Now, whether present employees are counted or not, they are not counted. They are not counted. I will tell you why they will not be counted later. They are not counted. Past employees of the company, are they counted? Means they are not counted. They are not counted subject to one condition. They are not counted subject to one condition. Subject to one condition. What is the condition they gave here? What is the condition? Subject to one condition, right? What is that condition here? Condition is the shares were allotted to them. Shares were allotted to them. Allotted to them while they are in employment. While they were in employment. While they were in employment. So I am an employee in a company. Okay, I am an employee in a company. Previously, I'm talking about my past. Now I'm not employee, I'm retired already. Let us assume. Earlier, I'm an employee in one company. When I was an employee, company looked at my performance. They really liked my performance and they gave me some shares under ESOP. They gave me some shares under ESOP. Just a minute. So when I was an employee, because my performance is good, they gave me shares under ESOP plan. Let us assume or sweat equity shares or ESOP, something they gave me. So they gave me. I got the shares. Good, happy. And I don't want to sell the shares because company respectedly honored me by giving ownership in the company when I was just an employee. So I don't want to sell the shares. I just want to keep like that forever. Later, my retirement time has come and I retired from the company. Now I am just continuing as a member of the company. That's it. I'm not an employee, but as a member of the company. Now, will I be considered in the total number of members of 200 members? No, I will not be counted because I got this ownership under ESOP option. I don't want to become the owner of the company. I joined in the company as an employee. With my performance, the company allotted shares to me as an employee only. So the first capacity for me is employee. The next capacity only membership. Then this is not counted. And present employees, whoever is members of the company, they are also not counted. They are also not counted. Present employees are not counted. But here I derive one more calculation, one more logic. Suppose I purchase shares of the Reliance, some private limited company. I incorporated private limited company, some company I incorporated. I'm not an employee in the company. I just incorporated. I'm just a member. Later, I want to work in the same company. I joined myself as an employee. Sir, will this be counted? A person who is first a member and then become an employee, will he be counted? Yes. If you read collectively these 2 points, you will understand this conclusion. Yes. The answer is yes. Have you understood? Everyone. Everyone. If a person is first of all originally a member and then I became an employee, it will be counted because I'm primarily member. Suppose first I'm an employee, then I became a member, not counted. So first, which capacity you are holding, that is important. First capacity, your first relationship with the company is as a member, counted. Your first relationship with the company is as an employee, not as a member. Your first relationship with the company is as an employee. Later you are becoming a member, you are not counted forever. Maybe you resigned from the company, you retired from the company, you are not counted forever because first relationship that you have is employee, and in that employment you got the shares. Suppose no, I became employee, I left also, retired also. After a while I purchase shares in the company. Now again I will be a member, I will be counted in number of members of 200. Everyone, confident or not, all of you, please tell me. Until now, we'll do a practical question on this. Yes, very good. Now look at this question, everyone. Practical question, 5th question. Flora and fauna I'll unmute one of you. Please, you read. Abhilash, can you read, ma?
Sir.
Yeah, please read the fifth question. Slowly you read, okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Question number 5.
Hmm.
Flora and Fauna Limited was registered as a public company.
What is
There
this
are
company,
two
ma? Abhilash, what is this company? Private or public?
public limited.
Yeah, exactly. Public limited. Yeah, next.
There are 230 members in the company as noted below.
So they have 230 members. They have given a list of 230 members who are there. Yeah, next.
Directors and their relatives, 50
Hmm.
members.
Hmm.
Employees, 15 members. Ex-employees, shares were allotted when they were employees, 10 members. 5 couples holding shares jointly in the name of husband and wife, 5 into 2, 10.
Yeah, they are counting it as 10 members. Here also 10 members. Here also 15. Here 50. You count all of these, no? 35 plus 50, 75. Plus
75.
145 total, how much? They are saying 230. The company is saying we have 230 members, they are saying. Counting in this way. Now,
Yes, sir.
others are holding 145. Now, board of directors, no, they are proposing to convert into a private company. They want to convert themselves into private company. Advise whether reduction in number of members is necessary, because no, the company has 230. No, you can convert a public company into private company. Simply, if you want to open a private company, maximum number of members should not exceed how many, Abhilash?
200.
200 it should not exceed. Now they are asking, sir, we have 230. No, should we reduce or not? They are asking you. Abhilash, tell me, if you are the chartered accountant in this case, if this company approached you, how will you tell them? Do they really have 230? See, they are thinking it is 230, but you know what is law, right?
Yes, sir.
You tell me, how do you count this? What is the total number of members? You have the breakup now. How do you count? Tell me. How many members as per the law company has? See, they are saying 230, but as per the law, how many they are having?
They're having directors and their relatives 50 members.
Will this be
Employees,
counted or not?
yes, sir. Employees 15 members.
Is this
Ex-employees,
counted?
yes, sir, counted.
Counted in 200 members, employees of the company.
Yes, employees of the company,
Not
uh,
counted.
sir.
Remember?
Employees of the company are not counted.
Exactly. Alan, ex-employees, and they are also members. But remember, when they got shares when they were employees. Yes
Yes,
or
sir.
no?
They are
In the
also not
employment,
considered.
if you got the shares and later you retire also, you will not be counted as
A
member.
member.
Not counted, no? Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Now, 5 couples are holding shares jointly. 5 couples are holding shares jointly means how many members they are? 5,
5
no?
shares. 5 members.
10
5
is
members.
not counted. How many is counted as? 5.
5.
Others 145. 145 we will count. Let it be. Now let us
Yes,
see
sir.
the total. 50,
150
55,
plus
145. Total how many members we have?
200
200.
exactly.
Now exactly 200, not more than 200. No. Now can this company register as a private limited company?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So they can convert into a private company subject to other provisions of Companies Act. They can convert into a private company subject to other provisions of Companies Act. Now you see the relevant provision. Please read that. See, you should write answer in this way. First, always you should write the relevant provision. Then you should write analysis and conclusion. See the relevant provision. I wrote entire provision. What is a private limited company definition? I wrote, and then I spoke about analysis and conclusion. And always remember, in the provision that you are writing, you should highlight what are the key points, and in the analysis and conclusion also you should always highlight the key point. Just by looking at the underlined points, I must understand what you wrote. Understood, Abhilash?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please read this one, relevant provision.
Relevant provision. As per provisions of Companies Act 2013, a private company means a company having a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed, and which is by its articles.
And which by its articles means a company which by rules and regulations, what they do? Restricts. Yeah, restricts.
Sir, restricts the rights to transfer its shares.
Yeah, next.
Sixth one.
No.
Limits
Second point, limits. Their actually numbering was wrong. 1, 2, 3 there. Limits the number of
limits the
members to
number of
200.
members to 200. In case
Prohibits
of
any
one,
invitation to public.
Yes, sir. In case
Next,
of one person company, only one member.
yeah, next.
Prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe from any securities of the company.
Yeah, next.
Counting of number.
Number of
When-
members. I'm counting of number of members. Yeah, how do you count?
Yeah. When two or more persons hold one or more shares in a company jointly, they shall be treated as a single member.
Yeah. Next.
Persons who are in the employment of the company shall not be counted.
Yeah, next.
Persons who having been formerly in the employment of the company,
Formerly means previously in the employment of the company, were members of the company while in that employment. When they are employee, they become a member and have continued to be member. Then they are still continuing as a member after the employment ceased. They retired from the company, still they are continuing as a member. Still they will not be counted.
yes,
And
sir,
an existing member
and then
who joined as an employee later will be counted.
counted.
Now analysis is what? What is the conclusion in the given case? Please.
In the given case, the total number of members of the company are counted as below. Directors and relatives 50 members.
Yes.
Employees not counted.
Yes.
Ex-employees not counted.
Because within as shares were allotted
As
during.
shares are allotted during the employment.
Yeah. Next, fourth one.
Couple shareholding 5.
5 means joint ownership is regarded as
Single
joint
ownership.
ownership is regarded as single member. Yes or no? Single member or single ownership. Next.
And others 145.
Therefore, what is the conclusion?
Since total number of members are exactly 200, Flora and Fauna Limited can convert into private company subject to other provisions of the Act. Further, there is no need to reduce the number of members as also as total
number of
members
members do
does
not
not
exceed
exceed.
200. So they're asking you, the company approached Abhilash and they're asking Abhilash whether shall we reduce numbers. Abhilash is saying we need not reduce less than 200 because it is exactly
Because there are
200. The
exactly
company can
200.
convert. That's it.
Yes.
Easy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good. That's it.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, fine ma. So private limited company means over. Easy, everyone. Now what is a public limited company? Public limited company means a company which is not a private company, simple, which do not have any restriction on transfer of shares, which do not limit the number of members to 200, which do not prohibit invitation to public for offer of shares and securities, and which will have a minimum paid up capital. For public companies, we follow 5 lakhs as minimum paid up capital as a norm, but it's not mandatory now, not yet prescribed, which is a minimum paid up capital. And a private company which is a subsidiary of a public company shall be deemed to be a public company. This is important clarification. True or false question. A private company, I'm a private company generally. In my company only 2 owners are there. One public limited company is the owner, some another shareholder are there. Nobody can enter into my company ownership. I am a private limited company. But the law assumes, see, in my name, no private limited ownership is there. Private limited word is there. In my ownership, private limited word is there. Okay. Name also. But I am a subsidiary. In my entire company is a subsidiary company for a public limited company. I will also be treated as a deemed public company. I am also treated as a deemed public company. I will talk about holding company, subsidiary company relationship later. These are the companies based on ownership structure. Able to understand? Yes, everyone, kindly reply me in the chat box. Are you finding interesting the law? Yes, good. Fine, ma. So carry on for the day. Have a nice time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma.